Well, hey there, folks. Meteorologist Matt Barrington. We are keeping an eye on the tropics. We do have two areas out in the Gulf. Well, one's kind of more over land now, over the peninsula of Florida, we've been keeping an eye on the last couple of days. Let me go ahead and get this up full screen for you so you can see what we're talking about. So we've got one that's over the peninsula of Florida, the other that is over the southwestern part of the Gulf around the Bay of Campeche. These are the two areas that we'll be keeping an eye on here in the coming days from the National Hurricane Center. Let me get this thing to zoom on down for you. We'll see what the numbers are here. So the one over the peninsula of Florida does have a small risk of development, but that's more once it gets into the Atlantic. Then you have the other one, the Bay of Campeche, which is southwestern Gulf. No chance of development in the next couple of days, but over the long term, they say 20%. And that's the two areas that we're keeping a close eye on. So once again, there's the two systems. Main thing is, let me get this into close-up mode here of South Florida. That's it. Yeah, so a big-time rainmaker here for South Florida. They're going to be getting a lot of rain, as you can see there on the looking on over there. They're getting a lot of rain already in South Florida around south of Tampa, going down towards the northern part of Miami, over around West Palm, up around Jupiter, Florida, Cape Canaveral. Heavy rain. And they're going to be looking at anywhere from about 10 to maybe even as much as 15 inches of rain over the next couple of days. So that's going to be a big time issue for them. Now, it will not impact us. We'll be just fine. We're not going to be seeing any of that. So how about that other system that is down in the Bay of Campeche? Well, this one is going to kind of work its way like this, kind of off to the west and eventually to the northwest into Mexico. So it's not coming into the northern part of the Gulf. That will not be impacting us. So we're going to be doing just fine. So neither of these systems are going to be impacting us. And once again, they're both very low level risk of actually developing into a named system, only around 20%. And even a tropical depression, low risk of even that happening. So a numbered or named system. Now, finally starting to see some activity out there. I know it seems like it's taken a while since we are halfway through almost the month of June, but it's typical that things are fairly slow through June. I mean, only 6% of all named systems happen in the month of June, which means there are many years that go by where we don't have a single named system in June. And once again, we got two systems we're watching out there right now. Neither of them may get a name. Very likely won't get a name. So we'll probably still go into the middle part of June with no named systems here. So we'll wait and see, but it is not unusual. Even in a season, we expect a lot of activity. We expect high amounts of activity this year. Starting slow is not unusual at all. It's typical the way things go. All right, so drier air, that's in place now. We got a drier air mass, making things feel more comfortable. You might have noticed that if you've stepped out the door here early on. Feels very lovely. Lots of nice drier air. Here's what it looks like with the dew points. I don't usually talk about the dew points too much. They tend to confuse people, I know, because of they look like temperatures. You can see they're in the 60s and 70s. But they're more of a measure of moisture in the air. They don't bounce around as much as temperatures do. And at this time of year, low 60s to mid 60s are pretty pleasant for us. We spend almost all summer up in the 70s with the dew points. And once we get in July and August, it'll be 75 plus most of that time. So we're in the pleasant conditions for now. This will change within just a few days. It'll get more humid. The humidity will return here for us across the Gulf Coast. All right, so here's how things look next, as we go into the lunchtime hour, then into the afternoon. Upper 80s at lunchtime. Low 90s. It's still hot today. There's no way around that. It's still going to be pretty hot, but it's just not going to be as humid. So when you factor in the humidity, it's just not going to feel quite as hot here for us here. Let me see if I have the heat index. Here it is. This is the one I wanted to show, the heat index value. So I'm forecasting a 93-degree high for today. The highest heat index value is 95. So that tells you there's not much of a difference between the actual temperature and the heat index, which means there's just not much humidity. See, it's the way the heat index works. It's a calculation. It's a formula, and it has to do with humidity. The higher the humidity, the higher the heat index. And the reason why is because of how our body works. Our natural air conditioning is when we sweat, and then that sweat evaporates. That creates evaporative cooling. the drier the air is, the better that works. But once the air starts to get really humid, it short circuits your body's natural ability to cool itself off. And that factors into those numbers that we show you. When it's, say, 92 degrees and it's very humid, we might have heat index values of 105, 107, something like that. It's all to do with the humidity, okay? So when we have a day like today where the humidity is low, that really helps us out. It just makes things more bearable. Even when it's hot, I mean, it's still going to be hot. It's just more bearable. All right, let me check out the beach forecast next several days. In fact, I want to get the long-range beach forecast up here. Where's that at? Because I wanted to show this. This is more important because this will show the weekend. And the weekend, what we're looking at is the rip current risk going up to high, unfortunately. So it's low for today and for tomorrow, but as we go into the upcoming weekend, we are going to be looking at high risk of rip currents both Saturday and Sunday. Something to keep in mind as you make your plans. Could very well be seeing red flags over the weekend, which is a big time bummer because it's going to be a hot weekend. We could definitely use a cooling off, but you don't want to get in the water, and especially don't want the kids to get in the water when we're talking about heat index values like that. Let me get the long range forecast. Let me get the, get this one up here for you so you know we're looking at here for the next several days. So this will take us to the end of the upcoming, end of this week. Temperatures are going to heat up, 94 tomorrow, 97 on Friday, so getting hotter. And unfortunately by Friday, the humidity is starting to return too, so we're easily going to see our heat index value getting up around 105. And then as we look into the upcoming weekend, Saturday is going to be extremely hot. It's going to be hot, it's going to be humid. Heat index value is easily, once again, around 105, maybe even higher. And then Sunday, rain and storms will return here for us on Sunday, so things will start to flip around for us by Sunday as those rain and those storms do return for us there, bringing those rain chances up. But it does help with the temperatures. You can see down to 90 on Sunday. And then look into next week. I'm going to go ahead and get this long-range forecast up. In fact, I'm going to put it up full screen so you can see the whole thing. And you can see those temperatures are going to go down next week because the rain chances go way up Monday and Tuesday especially. But it looks like we're going to have pretty good rain chances most of next week. So pretty big difference between this week. We've been hot and dry. Next week, the showers and storms will be back in full force. Thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 10.